Good morning, everybody, and a happy Tuesday morning to you. Yeah, I love this. Notice what is available in this candle. Big thank you to Temu Duchess for this. We have a lot to cover today. We have royal family stuff. We have Harry Meghan stuff. Some more information's come out. So let's just jump in and get busy because, yeah, let's go. All right, we're going to start off with the Sandringham Arboretum. They are having a celebration of the centenary of Queen Elizabeth's birth. So this is a collection that explores her lifelong connection to the Sandringham estate from her earliest childhood years to her historic 70-year reign. It's a special exhibition that traces her path, exploring the global milestones of her reign and the personal mark she left on her cherished home. This exhibition is free to visit and is located at the Sandringham Arboretum. That looks like something I would do if I lived in that area. Now, next up, we have Princess Anne and her fabulous husband, Sir Tim Lawrence. On April 16th, they were in Dumfries enjoying a concert at Easterbrook Hall with her support for Scotland's traditional music scene. However, before she sat down, she went and looked at a tree that was planted by her mother and Prince Philip during a visit in 2010. So, that made it more of a sentimental evening besides just one that had music and celebration. Now, she is patron of the Scottish Fiddle Orchestra, so she attended the concert. She apparently enjoyed the program. It shows traditional Scottish fiddle music at its finest. There was also the Dumfries Pipe Band. The Scottish Fiddle Orchestra was there, and apparently it was packed. And I just think that looks like a wonderful evening. And I'm glad that Anne got to see, the tree that had been planted by her father and mother. Wonderful. Let's move on. Let's move on now to Anne's daughter, Zara, who was taking part in the Barefoot Retreats Burnham Market International Horse Trials in Norfolk, which is one of the major equestrian events of the year. May I just say that is a gorgeous horse. I mean, how beautiful is that? The horse's name is Classic Eurostar. And I got to be honest, she looks like a star up in the saddle, let me tell you. Now, afterwards, Zara and the family, they're known to own 3 animals, 3 dogs. Anyway, she was seen walking one of the dogs after the event. She's so down to earth. I just love her. Now, moving on, King Charles has agreed to be the royal patron of a new charity which commemorates the Queen. It's called the Independent Queen Elizabeth Trust, and it will give grants for UK communities to develop and regenerate shared spaces. Let's move on now to our Harry Meghan stuff. As usual, there's a lot. First of all, we know they went to that Netflix party before they left for Australia, and they were removed and they were taken down after getting what they're calling a negative response. All photos taken at that event are apparently approved by Netflix after the event has concluded. There's a 24-hour delay, but that's usually not the way it runs, and it basically signifies that Netflix was taking strides to appease its guest. It's highly unusual, if not heard of. What does that sound like? That sounds like what happened to Kim Kardashian's party. Now, we know there were a lot of online commentators that were really critical of the pictures because, it showed Megyn cozying up to Ted Sarandos and their wife. They were very cringe. They were very unflattering. It shows Megyn to be needy and desperate. And so the question is, who asked for them to come down? Probably Harry Meghan. All right, let's move on to Harry's visa. Apparently, there was a planned release of visa documents, but it's been pushed back until after King Charles's visit to the United States. So we know that campaigners have been asking for years to view the files to see if Harry lied on his application for a visa about whether he's ever taken drugs or not. He's already admitted to using cocaine, marijuana, magic mushrooms, and the U.S. think tank Heritage Foundation brought a Freedom of Information case and sued the U.S. State Department to force it to comply with the request. And so apparently that stuff is going to be released, but not until King Charles comes and goes. I'll be looking out for that. Let's move on to Megyn Kelly. Remember, Meghan Markle claimed she was the most trolled person in the world, and Megyn Kelly on April 16th on her show said, to the surprise of absolutely no one, she made it in front of this group of suffering children all about herself. For now 10 years, every day for 10 years, she's been bullied and attacked. What is she talking about? You got targeted because you wanted to be, because you sought out the most eligible man and bachelor in the world who was putty in your hands, because you knew exactly how to exploit him thanks to his mental trauma. She even had a vision board with her life goals. He was on it. You wanted a short form to mega fame. You weren't getting it done on Suits, so you decided to marry somebody way more famous than you. You had sought to gloom on everything he had. You made that a target because you're a large public figure. Every public figure has been subject to negative scrutiny, intense and unpleasant. But the truth is, she's burned so many bridges after having the benefit of being universally loved and adored and praising, fawning press for a year when you started dating him. People were like, totally accepting of her, a biracial American princess. The US press went nuts. She goes, but then you had to become a bitch and start bullying everyone around you. That's what went wrong. Well, since she claims she's the most trolled person, and we know that's incorrect, let's look at 15 things that Megyn has said that have been proven to be lies. Megyn claims she was compared to Nelson Mandela by a male South African cast member at the Lion King premiere. She was told her wedding sparked celebrations similar to those when Nelson Mandela was freed from jail. But the only male South African actor in the movie did not meet her and wasn't even at the event. During that same interview, Megyn said that if her kids went to school in the UK, she would have faced a press pen. And I have a problem with that, she said. That doesn't make me obsessed with privacy. However, we all know there's strict rules governing the press, which prevents photos being taken of children at school. So they're usually prearranged with one photographer, and that's it. Next up, the N-words. She told The Cut's Allison Davis that she resented pictures of her children to be circulated in the media because it's racist language, and then she said they were using the N-word. However, there hasn't been able to be one instance of anybody using the N-word. As a matter of fact, it was fact-checked. It didn't happen. How about when Megyn had to apologize to the court because she says she forgot about the emails she sent for Finding Freedom to help Omid Scobie out? Next up, one of the single most damaging claims from Harry and Meghan during Oprah was when they said there were conversations and concerns about the color of Archie's skin, but didn't name anybody. And then her account differed from Harry's, and then come to find out it was a conversation that happened before they were even engaged. She claims the royal family took her passport away, even though she and Harry went on 13 holidays together, including breaks in Ibiza, Nice, and Amsterdam. She also traveled without Harry to New York and Toronto. Then after Oprah, we have that Catherine made her cry at the bridesmaids fitting. But when the journalist behind the original story came out, she stuck by her sources. Now, there have been subsequent claims that Catherine went to apologize to Megyn and with some flowers, and Megyn threw her flowers in the trash. Then we have Megyn having mental health issues, and she says the palace ignored her when she asked for support, even though several members of the firm had gone for help, including Prince Harry. He even fronted the initiative Heads Together with Mind to End the Stigma of Mental Health. Megyn claimed she was completely clueless about the royals, even though she was friends with Eugenie for years before she met Harry. And she also went with Nanaki Pretty to London as teens, and there's a picture of them in front of Buckingham Palace. Then we have the secret wedding by the Archbishop of Canterbury behind their house, which proven also to be a lie. Claimed Archie couldn't be a prince, but the truth is, due to protocol, he became a prince the second his grandfather took the throne. She claims the royal family silenced her. However, before they left the UK, Meghan Markle made 73 public appearances, many of which she spoke at. He said that TV was never in the plan. However, we know that they were speaking to now defunct Quibi since 2019, and Megyn was in talks with Netflix since 2018 about her animated TV series that we found out later on she plagiarized. Now, the two of them left the UK because they claimed they wanted a private life, and yet since they've left, they've done nothing but go on talk shows. Meghan and Harry have both changed their stories, how they met multiple times. And finally, Meghan said she hadn't seen her sister in the Oprah show for at least 19 years. But of course, a picture came out of them together only 13 years earlier. Now, as far as Harry's comments go, you can see at the top the different comments that he made about his family on this tour. At the same time, he's whining and crying to anybody that'll listen that he wants a reconciliation. He's too dense enough to realize that as long as he's doing stuff like this, it's not going to happen. And for somebody who wanted out of the royal family so badly, he sure as hell is trying to get back in. And I have to tell you, even his comments about what constitutes good parenting, nobody needs to hear from the likes of him. Keep in mind that Queen Elizabeth's birthday is coming up like in a day or two, and look at all the crap they're putting out, trying to overshadow. Now, the last thing is that the Invictus Games Foundation is collaborating with 12 military charities to establish a veterans corner at mile 23 of the London Marathon. Okay, so set it up. But this constant drip feeding of information in an attempt to overshadow your own grandmother's legacy is pathetic. Seriously, I mean, they know that Elizabeth's birthday was coming and they've done everything possible to pull the attention off of her. Now, as far as the Australia trip goes, a lot of people in Australia showed complete indifference. Some people described it as a, quote, pathetic cry for public love. They said it was a fake royal tour. It was criticized for mimicking an official royal tour. Well, they don't represent the monarchy anymore. The Australian Prime Minister and the Governor General did not acknowledge their visit, which really shows that it's unofficial, but that didn't stop them from going. And the trip was mixed with private commercial interests, and it had indigenous culture sites and sporting events. And of course, we found out later on that the Australian taxpayer was having to pay for their police protection. You guys should know that 80% of the UK British public opposed the two of them using their royal titles for financial gain. Critics label the titles a cash cow, which it is, and they're not getting any support, at least not the support they thought they were going to get. Especially the visit to Bondi Beach. What people are saying is that true compassion is considered a selfless act. It's freely given rather than a transactional expected reward. And genuine kindness can bring personal fulfillment and emotional rewards. It shouldn't be treated as a service requiring a commission or a payment. And true empathy means understanding and sharing feelings, not looking for a return. And that's the difference between these two. I would like to know how Meghan Markle is able to stand and walk around on the same ground where 15 people lost their lives. They were murdered. It is a massacre site. How do you do that and then start merching your clothing online? That is not show up, do good. As soon as you start getting a commission, it's not charity. So while Meghan is running around wearing Australian designers on her quasi-royal tour, and they attended a lot of engagements, what caught people's attention and what is raising alarms in royal circles is the fact that Meghan is earning money from the shopping platform, which is built around the outfits that she's wearing to these charity events. She's commercialized her wardrobe, but like a royal source, told the publication, they're rolling their eyes because there's a routine. Push the envelope, get criticized, reverse tack, say you made a donation, but by making money while doing philanthropic work, they appear to be having their cake and eating it too. And I'd also like to add, they haven't made any donations. But this isn't the first time Meghan's done this. Do you guys remember when she was on the tour of South Africa? She dressed very inappropriately. She went to a memorial for a student who was assaulted a certain way and murdered, and then she merched the clothing. Big thank you to Booberry on Twitter for finding this, by the way. Absolutely great find. But this isn't the only time they've used other people's tragedies. Do you remember years ago, they took all the names of everybody that was killed on 9/11 without permission and put them on their website? How about when the two of them closed down a cemetery and trampled on the graves of war heroes because Harry was upset he wasn't allowed to lay a wreath in the UK? How about when Meghan went to Uvalde with the Netflix crew and her own photographers and walked back and forth in front of the crosses for all those poor children who were killed in the school shooting, while not just going 3 hours down the road from where she was living at the time to go visit her own father who'd had a massive stroke? How about when she was shown through the burned remains of people's homes and possibly could have been trampling on people's bodies that were there before residents of the area were even allowed to return to their own homes, but they were given access here? How about when they were a disaster tourist in Jordan? There's a war going on. They're with Hamas supporting people at that place they were at. They go and visit the people in the hospital. This is why they've been labeled tragedy tourists, because that's what they do. They use other people's tragedies. I mean, it's about time somebody noticed that they're using other people's tragedy for PR, but not here. Look how small the crowd was waiting for them. Now, another thing I want to cover really quickly, people are talking about the fact that Meghan was on, that show. Well, she'd have to get a temporary activity visa in order to do it, and it appears that she did. Now, another thing, I showed you this video the other day, but we're going to cover it again because we know that Meghan controls Harry by touching him. So when she went up behind him and touched him, the aide did, I think Meghan was really, really upset. Nobody's allowed to touch him but her. I'm guessing that's the way it works. And she was very unhappy. She's glaring at this woman. I would have no doubt, since they've been through, 10 or 11 publicists already, wouldn't surprise me at all if they got home and the woman found herself fired. All right, next up, Kelly Zafin. This is a little off topic. She's already merching the baby. Disgusting. All right, moving on. It's time for the memes before we get any further. And I want to send a shout out to Duchess of Geeks, the Bee Whisperer, the Royal Griff, that one, La Renita, Autumn, In Maine, Fee, Jinsey Jones, The Veil Between Us, Unilaris, Wickham or Not. Oh my goodness, so many people. Goo. Thank you guys for the memes. Sit back, you guys, and enjoy. Guys, get a grip because here we go. Meghan is now merching signature candles that she says are inspired by her children. They're in her Mother's Day collection. She uses their full titles: Prince Archie of Sussex birthday, Princess Lilibet's, birthday. His is a warm, comforting scent inspired by Prince Archie of Sussex's birth date, bringing a soft, familiar ease into the room with notes of cashmere, ginger, blah, blah, blah. A subtle wink to his red hair. This candle is inspired by Meghan's son, Prince Archie. And the other one, which is signature candle number 604, is Princess Lilibet of Sussex's birthday. It's a light floral scent inspired by Princess Lilibet of Sussex's birth date, adding a sense of brightness and openness to the home with notes of amber, water lily, and santal, a nod to her name. This candle is inspired by Meghan's daughter, Princess Lilibet. Don't tell me they're not merching those kids. If the palace doesn't do something soon, this is just not going to end well for the royal family. All right, you guys. Now, some more videos have come out because the DJ decided to post them. So first of all, we have this video, in case you haven't seen it, that shows basically just how empty the room is. You can see the same place settings. It's the same setup. I think this woman was on there before Meghan was. Then, of course, we have Harry and Meghan leaving the room. Harry's stopping to talk to people. Meghan's already run out the door. Then a video came out, which I found absolutely shocking, that basically showed the DJ. This is all the women that were there, and they're dancing to It's Raining Men. No, I'm not kidding. So while nobody is supposed to be putting stuff up, she's putting stuff up. And then they put this up. This is the video at the end to show you what a fabulous time it was. Unfortunately, there's been a few snafus, and you're going to find out about those in tomorrow's video, because we're going to cover those then, okay? Because this video is getting too long. So you guys know what I want. Hit the like and the subscribe button and the bell for all notifications. Then go down into the description box where you'll find the link to my Twitter, my Gettr, my Rumble, my email, a link to my father's book, which remains up for sale on Amazon, a link to my Amazon wish list, as well as a physical address. For those of you who have donated to my coffee fund, thank you so much. And as always, you guys, have a great day.